see a couple of people here already. Hello, Mom and Dad, and hello, Corey. You. So you may be wondering where I am in this beautiful garden. Because Laurent and I are on holiday. We are visiting his family in the south of France near the border with Spain. And this is Laurent's dad's garden, which is, he's an incredible gardener. Like I wish I could, maybe I'll try to do like a little video of it because it's absolutely gorgeous. There's a vegetable part, there's a flowers part, like it's intense. I'm so impressed with his gardening skills. But I thought it'd be a great backdrop for today's live. And also it's 9:30 p.m., which means that it's just before sunset here in France and it is finally cooled off. Summer has finally arrived, guys. It is overdue, but it is finally here. You can tell by how, let's see if I can move my hair, how sunburned I am. I am so sunburned, but we've been like maxing out on summertime activities. It's been great. It's been really, really great. So we're having a little breakdown here before we get back to Everdeen to like lean into the work, which brings me to today's first order of business. The helpers, my parents, have bought plane tickets. Yay! And so they are going to be here very soon, and helping with all the work this summer because we're trying to do like a big push before what we call the rentrée here in France. It's when it's back to school for us Anglophones. It's when everyone goes back to school or back to work after the summer holidays. And so before that happens, and when Laurent has to go back to work, we're trying to do like a giant push of moving forward in the renovation. So the helpers will be here for most of that. I'm just scrolling down in the comments. Excuse me if this video wiggles a little bit. You're on my tripod, and my tripod is very tall but not very sturdy, so there might be some wiggling. Um, Oh, Corey says, you're lucky to get away from this heat. It has been hot. Let me tell you, yesterday we drove down to Spain 'cause it's very close to here. It's like just the border is just right there. And it was 40 degrees Celsius, which is like 101 Fahrenheit. And this is where most of the sunburn came from. We were walking around and just cooking, but it was lovely. It was well worth it. Anyway, so let's get to today's topic now that we've done a little bit of the housekeeping business. I've got my notes. Look at that. I'm so organized. I'm so organized, guys. Because today we're going to be talking about local legends of Auvergne, which I'm very excited to talk with you about because a lot of you seem to like when I did the Bridgerton history of the house and what it would have been like when it was originally built and that kind of historical video. So I thought we could kind of continue that theme today and talk about some more historical things of the region where the house is. So the first thing I want to talk to you guys about is volcanoes. Why volcanoes? Well, you may not know the region of Auvergne of what's called the Haute Loire, which is also I always forget this. The region is bigger, and then the Haute Loire is like the county that we're in. And this region is known for being extremely volcanic. In fact, when I bought Everdeen, I had to sign a thing in the paperwork of the sale that said like I acknowledge that there are volcanoes in this region and I'm okay with that. And I was like, am I? But it's fine. There are no active volcanoes. It's not like a danger at all. It's just that historically like the geology of the area is very volcanic. And so I want to talk to you guys first off about the puy. I asked Laurent earlier what is a puy, and he was like, it's a hill. So it's very mysterious what a puy is. A puy is, I've looked this up, a volcanically made hill with a rounded top. Now, why am I talking about puy? Because the region around Everdeen is very famous for the puy. In fact, there's Le Puy-en-Velay, that's a town that's very famous. It's about 1 hour away from Everdeen, and it is known for having, if you guys have seen the video where we visited there, like these very steep, high hills that just shoot up out the ground. They're round on top, and they come back down. Le Puy-en-Velay has a church on top of its most famous one. It's very like signature skyline for Le Puy-en-Velay. And not active yet. Dad says the volcanoes aren't active yet. Dad, you're not helping. You're not helping? No. So the chain of puys that's in the area of Everdeen is called the area that it's around is called the Massif Central. That's a range of mountains, and the puys go all through the range of mountains. There's about 40 kilometers of puys, so it's a lot of volcanoes, a lot of activity. And the Puy de Dôme is the highest one. It is 1,465 meters high, or 4,806 feet. So they're pretty serious. Now, the first thing I wanted to talk about having to do with the Puys is a little bit of history that I just learned about a couple weeks ago. I heard someone mention this, and I was like, that's very interesting, and that's also about my region. John of Gaunt. You may know him as one of the reasons the Wars of the Roses happened in England, because his son usurped the throne, which led one generation on to the Wars of the Roses breaking out, the Middle English Civil War. There was a earlier Middle English Civil War, and there was a later English Civil War, but the Wars of the Roses was kind of the Middle English Civil War. And John of Gaunt led across the Massif Central the Great Chevauchée, which was an English invasion of France. The idea was to go through Paris, leaving from Calais, and then go down through Burgundy, which at the time was also a separate kingdom, interestingly, and then go through the Massif Central, the mountains that are quite close to Everdeen, and invade the Dordogne, which is like the area that's just on the other side from Paris. So if you go from Paris, you go down through Auvergne, and then you go a little bit to the east. That's the Dordogne. They battled through all of these regions and then reached the end, which was in the Dordogne. And all of the articles that I've read on this say that there was little or questionable military value to their excursion, but they did get treated like heroes on their return to England. So, oh yeah, Corey, you got it. Yeah, his son formed the Yorks and the Lancasters. Yes, he did. His son was the future King Henry IV, who usurped the throne from Richard II. And then the delicious, dramatic Wars of the Roses happened. If you are interested in history, I highly recommend looking into the Wars of the Roses, because it's so interesting. But I just think that's really cool that John of Gaunt passed down through the Everdeen region. Might have even passed right next to Everdeen. Oh, hello, Artistic World. And that's just like a cute history tidbit that I thought was very interesting. But let's get to the juicy part of today's video, which is going to be a little bit Halloween-y. I was hoping it'd be a little bit darker, because I was going to totally do the thing with the flashlight under the face. But there's a very famous legend that comes from a town right next to Everdeen, and I think it's real worth telling, because it is the origin of the werewolf mythology. It is the first werewolf story that we have a recorded version of, and many people believe that it's where all of the werewolf lore came from. But it is a historical event that we know definitely happened. So buckle your seatbelt. Let's get a little bit Halloween-y. Imagine that my face is lit dramatically from below, and let's talk about the Beast of Gévaudan. The Beast of Gévaudan was an unknown beast, and there's still quite a lot of questions about the beast today, which I will get into in a minute, that terrorized the town of Gevaudan and the surrounding area in the mid 18th century. Now, Gevaudan is quite close to Everdeen, and we still see quite a lot of things there'll be festivals with the Beast of Gévaudan. You see the poster, and it's got a beast head on it, and the Gévaudan festival, the Gévaudan market with the beast on it. So they've really embraced this legend at this point, and they're really leaning into the werewolf mythology. But let's talk about what actually happened. I think this is a story that not many people outside of France know that much about. So the Beast of Gévaudan was a beast that terrorized the town of Gevaudan between 1764 and 1767, so 3 years in there. And during that time, there were over 100 victims that were attacked by this mysterious beast. There was a great variety in people's descriptions, the survivors' descriptions of what the beast looked like, what it resembled in terms of an animal, or was it a person, or was it something mythological? There just wasn't any consensus about what was happening. Many people were attacked while they were tending sheep. There were shepherds who were kind of out by themselves, and They just kind of were easy prey for some sort of beast that was roaming the woods. There's a couple of specific stories about the Beast of Gévaudan that I think are very interesting. The first one happened on October 8th, 1764. So it was right at the beginning of the Beast of Gévaudan's reign of terror, if you will. um, and it was seen stalking a huntsman. So there already had been several attacks. Some people had reported what the beast looked like or what they had seen, or they had been attacked and they'd escaped. And the beast was seen stalking a huntsman who was tending his sheep near a chateau. It was seen from the walls of the chateau because they were higher up. They were obviously able to see a little bit farther. So they sent out a party of hunters to try to track down the beast before it could pick off the shepherd. And the hunters followed the beast for several miles and eventually ran it into a clearing where they shot it with their muskets. What I've read indicates that they're sure that they did hit the animal, which then apparently fell down and then got up, continued running, and escaped. Then, a few years later, well, 1 year later, in 1765, there was a 10-year-old called Jacques Portefeuille who led a group of children, this one gets a little weird, to fight the beast off with sticks. One kind of wonders if this was the same beast that had been like killing adults, or if maybe this was just like a wolf or some other beast, but we're not sure. But the historical accounts say that this was definitely the Beast of Gévaudan that was run away by a large group of children. And the kids were rewarded by King Louis XV with a free education. And I guess I can just imagine like some little kids that are like, oh, what are we gonna get? We've like had a fight with a massive werewolf, and now like, what are we gonna get? And then they're like, free education, and the kids are like, but that's my interpretation of the potential reaction of some children to free education as a result for surviving. um, After this happened, there was a 6,000 livres or pound bounty placed on the creature, and Louis XV sent out some of his best royal huntsmen to try to track it down. A large wolf was shot by the king's gun bearer, who apparently was 71 years old at the time and hunting with his grandson, which is a whole other story that I would like to know more about. The court claimed that the beast was dead and that the whole affair was over until June 19th, 1767, when Jean Chastel shot a wolf animal, this is in quotes, animal that had non-wolf characteristics. Now, the reason Jean Chastel had been out hunting this wolf is because there had been a new spate of attacks, and it was getting tricky for the court to say that the Beast of Gévaudan was gone when suddenly there are people who are getting eaten in Gevaudan again. Jean Chastel goes out along with a party of royal hunters and shoots this wolf. And I'm now going to tell you guys the characteristics that were ascribed to the animal that Jean Chastel shot. Large as a horse, with red-gray fur, wolf-like characteristics, but a panther tail, a black stripe running around its whole body, and on its feet were talons. So there's a couple of theories about what this beast was, in fact, definitely dead at this point. An autopsy was done and human remains were found in its stomach. So even if whether it was or wasn't the Beast of Gévaudan, it was the beast of something because it ate somebody. But there's a few theories about what might have happened. Obviously, there's a theory that it was a rogue wolf, and historical recounts have gotten blown way out of proportion. There's also a theory that it might have been a human serial killer who was some way mentally ill and trying to portray themselves as a wolf. There's a theory that it might have been a hyena or a lion that had escaped from a menagerie of some sort. At this point in history, especially the royal menageries were being gifted with a lot of exotic animals. So there were just kind of rich people everywhere that had a bunch of exotic animals they didn't know what to do with. So the theory is that potentially someone got a hyena or a lion as a gift and it escaped, and then they didn't want to say anything because it's like, oops, my hyena has started eating the villagers. Another theory is that it might have been several different animals, just normal wolves that were just out and about living their wolf life, happened to eat some people around the same time, around the same area. Will we ever know for sure? Who knows? Who knows? My theory is that it was a picture perfect description of the beast that was large as a horse, tail of a panther, big black stripe, and great big talons. I think that is 100% accurate and has not been embellished at all. But I hope you guys have found this as interesting as I have, because I really enjoy researching this. I'm such a nerd. I'm such a history nerd, you guys. If you're interested in more history type stuff, then let me know. This has been a little bit less of an interactive live, but I'm thinking next week I might do like a questions live. So if you have a question, please send me a question, because I would be very happy to answer. And if you're interested in more history videos like this, we've got more. Like the Marquis de Lafayette, who played a giant part in the American Revolution, is from 30 minutes away from Everdeen. So, you know, if you're interested in hearing more about the Marquis de Lafayette or anything else historically minded, let me know. And with that, I'm just going to have a quick scroll back just to see if there's any... Sorry, I don't have my glasses on, you guys, so I don't, like, if you... For the comments, I need to get really close awkwardly, like this. Oh, Corey Cat says, Eleanor of Aquitaine was my 25th great-great-grandmother. That is so cool. I love Eleanor of Aquitaine so much. Have you seen the movie of, I'm sure you have, The Lion in Winter? Great movie. Eleanor of Aquitaine is like played by Katharine Hepburn. Amazing movie. Highly recommend. Highly recommend that movie. Scrolling down, looking for questions. I saw this beast cross. My dad says, I saw this beast crossing a field near Everdeen, or maybe it was a fox. Because you get a photo. Because I feel like we could make our fortune that way. This could pay for like the rest of the repairs at Everdeen. If you can get a solid werewolf video, it'd be great. Artistic World says serial killers are like that. Lol. Looking for attention. The wolf was just a very emo serial killer, being like, look at me. Lol. Hilarious. Anyway, no animals were injured during the retelling of this legend. Well, that is true, although I am an animal, and I can't guarantee that I won't injure myself within the next 20 minutes, because I tend to do these things. Anyway, I think that's pretty much... Oh gosh, my tripod's falling over. Do you see yourselves like getting a farther away? I need to hold it. Okay, I think that's a sign that this video should end. So yeah, let me know if you want more history videos. Let me know if you got questions. And I will see you guys. I'll see you guys soon. I'll see you on Monday. Bye. And once again, I can't sign out of the live.